Ready, set, hut, hut.
As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sound of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineer. Goes around about the 50, the 10, the 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tay Von Austin.
But Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth. It's Mountaineer pride!
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
We've no doubt tonight they shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night!
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into another live stream here on the Country Roads webcast, April 11th edition. And we're going to be a basketball-centric show this time. We got reports on staff members that we had talked about in the past that we were hoping to join. Looks like they may be on their way to WVU. We'll talk about those momentarily. We got scheduling news as far as a preseason tournament that West Virginia is going to play in Coach Hodge's first season here on the basketball side. And then towards the tail end, we'll do an update on the transfer targets, update where West Virginia stands on several of those prospects. Some bad news, some good news, some potential really good news. And we'll talk about that towards the end there. We'll talk transfer updates. But that's what's kind of on the docket here for this one as we talk WVU basketball. Appreciate you guys tuning in live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You guys that are on Facebook or Twitch, encourage you to come over to the CRW YouTube channel, subscribe here so you can stay up to date on the West Virginia roster as it builds with these transfer updates, the staff as well as they go through the first off season here leading into the debut season for Coach Hodge. You guys that tune in on YouTube, whether you're watching live or on the playback, you can help us out by hitting the thumbs up button. It helps us hit the YouTube algorithm, find more Mountaineer fans like yourself. Throw any thoughts you got there in the chat, and shout out to channel member Nathan Scott. I see you in here, Nathan, and he's the one that sent me one of these a little bit of info here on Phil Forte, one that I talked about in the past that I was hoping, and we'll talk about that momentarily. But let's lead it off talking about the scheduling news first for WVU basketball for the upcoming season, and then we'll talk about those staff updates. So West Virginia is going to play in the 2025 Charleston Classic down there in Charleston, South Carolina. That's what's been reported. I think John Rothstein was the first one that I saw report this on social media. Our friend Mike Osti with this article over here at WVSportsNow.com. Saying Ross Hodge trying to put a roster together. He's learning news about his first schedule as well. According to John Rothstein of CBS Sports, West Virginia will take part in the 2025 Charleston Classic. Joining West Virginia there will be Georgia, Clemson, and Xavier. That's who is expected to fill out the rest of the field. It'll mark the 18th year of the Charleston Classic, which will take place in the TD Arena in Charleston, South Carolina. The event was November 21st to 24th this past year. Official date's not out for the upcoming tournament, though, yet, but West Virginia looks like they're going to play in that tournament. So that's the scheduling news that we had there. Is West Virginia going to play against potentially Georgia, Clemson, and Xavier in a tournament in Coach Hodge's first season. And then let's talk about some members that may be on his staff. You guys know in a previous stream, we talked about one that I was excited about, that being Phil Forte. Was hoping that he would be one that would come with Coach Hodge. I'm sure we all remember him from his playing days at Oklahoma State, but really good coach, has developed some really good offensive players under Coach Hodge, and he's done a great job. And I figured that was the case because it was kind of rumored that he was one that was helping recruit, Honor Huff, one of these transfers that we're going after that you guys have heard me rave about in the past. And it seems like that is indeed the case because, as I said, Nathan sent me a screenshot to put me onto this because I hadn't looked at it in a while. But if you go to Phil Forte's X page here, he's already changed his bio to say former guard for Oklahoma State, assistant coach at West Virginia University. So I would expect an official announcement from Phil Forte by the university anytime now. Seems like it's all but official, as it's even up here on his social media. And you can see he's also been retweeting, the commitment of Brennan Lorient, the commitment of DJ Thomas out of high school as well. So, when he switched to WVU, and he already has it in his bio. So Phil Forte, the one that we talked about in the past that I was hoping would follow Coach Hodge, is really good news because he's kind of helps with the offense, and they've been very efficient, 3-point shooting team, which you would expect with Phil Forte's history, being up there as the career leader at Oklahoma State ever with 3-point field goals. I believe 329 is how many he made throughout his career. Excellent player, and has been an excellent young coach already. So glad to have him join the staff, and has proven to be a really good recruiter as well, which is going to help us here with this portal cycle. And I think that's a reason why we're in for some of these big time guards we'll talk about momentarily. But he may not be the only coach that's coming over. Also, I believe Jace Hurl may be coming over as well. And this would be big because as much as we talked about, Phil Forte, what he brings recruiting-wise and helping on the offensive end, Jace Hurl is that for the defensive side of the ball. Much like Coach Hodge was when Grant McCaslin was there and Coach Hodge was running the defense, Jace Hurl was kind of that guy for him at North Texas from what I understand, and I think he may be coming to West Virginia as well. He hasn't put it in his bio yet, so I guess this one's not as solidly, happening as much as the Phil Forte one, at least not officially yet. But if you look here, he's also retweeted the announcement of DJ Thomas committing to West Virginia, which, that signifies to you something there in and of itself. So I think Jace Hurl will be on the staff with Phil Forte, and we'll see who else joins it there for a couple coaching updates. But if and when both those become official, we'll come back and share the press releases and talk about those guys further. But I think you can expect those two names to follow from North Texas and be on Coach Hodge's staff. We'll see how they assemble the rest of it there, but those are going to be two of the primary assistants, I do believe, there for the coaching update and the schedule update there. So lastly, let's do a little transfer portal update here, shall we? Let's pull up some updates on some of these guys that we've talked about in the past. First, let's pull up our transfer portal tracker, talk about where West Virginia stands currently. Of course, Tucker DeVries on their way out, committed to Indiana, Jonathan Powell to UNC, KJ Tenner to Murray State, Amani Hansberry to VT, Cincy Harris to Cincinnati, and then Offering Neve, no destination yet, but did recently announce he's transferring out. 2 transfer commits thus far in Harlan Obioha from UNC Wilmington, the 7-footer, and Brennan Lorient coming over from North Texas. As far as contacts, this is where a lot of them have been. There's probably even more than this. This is a list I've been able to compile, though. Some of the ones that we're really excited about, Honor Huff, Wes Ennis, who we talked about in a previous stream. I'll try and highlight that again. I went through and seen if I could find any updates on any of these guys. I think there will be one more on this list. Will turn red. He hasn't announced the destination yet, but he has announced some top schools, and West Virginia's not in it. We got a couple of updates that unfortunately fall into that category of things, but I think the positive far outweighs the negative with the guys that West Virginia's in the running for. So let's pull up some of these updates here on some of these transfer targets. Let's see here. All right, so Jermichael Stillwell, not necessarily saying these are his final schools, but these are the visits that he's taken: Memphis, Oklahoma, UCF. So West Virginia maybe not 100% out of the running, but seems like he's kind of down to those 3 if those are the 3 visits he's going to take, which, is a downside because he was one of the nation's best rebounders, but I think West Virginia has targeted a lot of good rebounders at least here in the potential portal, transfer portal potentially. So, that's one thing that could kind of be the silver lining there if Stillwell is indeed down to these 3 programs. So there's one of the transfer portal updates there on a potential target that we've talked about in the past. Then we also have Duke Brennan, the transfer from Grand Canyon, another really good rebounder. He has set 3 visits, those being Stanford, Villanova, and Iowa. So doesn't look like West Virginia may be that deep in the mix with him now currently either. So there's another one of those more negative side of the updates. But like I said, I do have some more positive ones coming. I think the positives do outweigh the negative. But I do want to pull up one more that is on the latter side of that, unfortunately. Let's see here if I can find it. I just had it pulled up here. There it is. Milwaukee transfer Themis Fulks down to 5 schools. West Virginia not one of his final 5, but I think one reason for that is because of some of the guys that West Virginia is a finalist for, which we've talked about on a couple streams, but I'll share an update on those guys one more time here momentarily. So I do want to go ahead and take Themis Fulks, and we'll turn him to red. Even though he hasn't announced the destination yet, it looks like he's down to some other schools that are fine. His final list. West Virginia is not on that. I'm not going to change Stillwell yet. I'm not going to change Barnes yet, who also has set some other visits. And the other one that we talked about there, Duke Brennan, once they commit, we'll do that, or once they make a final list. But there are some more positive transfer portal updates here that we can talk about. Let's pull up some of those, including one that I think is all but, official, kind of. We've heard it from many sources now that this may be a possibility. So let's lead off with that. We talked about a couple coaches coming from North Texas. We got Brennan Lorient coming from North Texas, and we knew we had a couple other potential targets there that could be coming from North Texas. So let's talk about one of those here. And that being Jasper Floyd, the guard from North Texas, and this is another source that's now predicted him to transfer to West Virginia. This is Transfer and Recruiting News on X, making a prediction of Jasper Floyd to West Virginia. The 6'3" guard averaged 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and 1.3 steals per game, starting all 36 games, following Coach Hodge to the Mountaineers. And of course, Floyd's the one that we've talked about in the past that has the extra year of eligibility due to the JUCO ruling there that provided that this past season. So he's hitting the portal with that, and looks like, according to multiple sources, should and could be on his way to West Virginia. So watch out for a commitment from him in the near future, potentially. And then here's a little bit of a nice little thing I thought that popped up from him from the North Texas page in the postseason tournament games this year. So it was his best when it mattered most there. 15 points per game, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and nearly 3 steals per game. And here's a nice little step back jumper right there to show a little bit of his game. He's a lefty. A nice shooting stroke, and really good on the defensive end as well, which would be great. I think that would be great to have a player, in the front court that we brought in Brennan Lorient, who we're really excited about, and then get a good guard in Jasper Floyd as well. That would be great too. And then also I wanted to highlight one more time my 2 favorite targets for West Virginia left on the board. Hopefully, it looks like we got a good chance. I'd say, I'd give it about a 65-70% chance we're going to land Jasper Floyd already. And then if we can add one of these other 2 players, which you've heard me rave about in the past, at the guard position as well, then we're really cooking with gas. So just highlight them one more time. Those are, of course, Wes Ennis from Lincoln Memorial there in Division II, down to a Final 6 of WVU, DePaul, USF, NC State, Iowa, and Minnesota. Excellent scorer, excellent shooter, and was the defensive player of the year there in his conference as well. He's going to really be a good player here once he transfers up to Division I. And then also the other one that I'm super excited about, you guys know I always got to talk a little bit about Honor Huff and West Virginia in his Final 5 with Iowa, St. John's, Vandy, and Pitt. And this was, of course, the nation's best 3-point shooter last season. He'll be a dynamic scorer. Also can hold his own on the defensive end. I think that Wes Ennis is a little bit better on that side of things, but Honor Huff, a dynamic scorer, amazing shooter, nearly 45% from the 3-point line, hit more threes than anybody in college basketball last year. And that's why a lot of programs are after both of those guys. And to see West Virginia in the mix for both of them, definitely a positive. So I think, the positive updates there far outweigh the negative. And just one more look here. Now we can update it with the look of Fulks. Currently went ahead and turned him red. Stillwell is taking other visits. Brennan taking other visits. Isaiah Barnes taking other visits, but we have really positive news on Honor Huff from Chattanooga, who was one of my top targets, and then also on Wes Ennis from Lincoln Memorial, West Virginia finalist for him as well. And then, of course, the predictions for Jasper Floyd to land at WVU. There's been multiple now, so hopefully those come to fruition, and we'll see what happens with Grant Newell as well moving forward. So those are the targets here that West Virginia still remains into the mix for. So we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So even if you take out the 3 guys that are taking visits elsewhere, double-digit transfers West Virginia's contacted that they're still in the mix for after already having a couple of commits, and looking like potential good news on Jasper Floyd in the future as well. And fingers crossed for Honor Huff or Wes Ennis. And then I think West Virginia is already assembling, what could be a really good starting lineup with their first transfer additions here in this class. So those are the updates I had. Don't want to keep this one too long. I do have to jet off to work here in a few. Appreciate you guys that are in here live. It's Not Okay Golf, Nathan Scott, that came in and chatted a little bit. Know a lot more people will probably share some thoughts in the comments on the playback, and I appreciate that as well. If you watch this on the playback after the fact, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Help us with the YouTube algorithm. Share your thoughts there in the comment section. And yet again, those of you that watch live on Facebook or Twitch, be sure to come over to the CRW YouTube channel. Subscribe here for pre-recorded videos and podcast episodes, as well as we'll continue to update this WVU basketball roster and staff. We'll continue to update the WVU football roster. Just put out a pre-recorded video updating the football roster on YouTube this morning. So check that out if you want to stay up to date on the football roster as well. Of course, plenty of all-season updates coming from both sports. Be live again most likely tomorrow at some point to talk more good news. Hopefully we'll get some more transfer commits in either sport. But I'm sure there'll be news to talk about one way or the other. And I'll be back to chat with you guys soon in the near future. Appreciate you guys. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz. And until next time, let's go Mountaineers.